Hi guys, I'm Ava and I'm a travel vlogger and I love Pakistan. I am currently in Islamabad on my second visit to this amazing country and I thought I'd make a little vlog to tell you a bit more about traveling here. It's not one of the easiest countries in the world to travel to, and if like me you have a foreign passport, there's a few things that you need to know before coming here. And if like me you had traveled in Asia before but never to this particular region, there's also a few things that you should probably know about the local culture and customs just to enjoy your stay 100%. Now, just before I get started with all my tips, I want to preface this by saying that Pakistan is not at all what you expect it to be. At the end of the video, I will make one really important point that every single traveler coming to Pakistan absolutely needs to know about. So make sure you hang around right until then. Alright, let's get started. The number one thing that you need to know about traveling to Pakistan is your visa conditions. Every single country has a slightly different set of visa requirements, so make sure you check those before booking your trip. I have an EU passport, so what I needed to provide before coming here was a letter of invitation, also known as the LOI. This is a letter provided by someone in Pakistan, a tour company or a friend if you have one here, attesting that you have been invited to come here, that they will be taking care of you at all times. Yes, it seems a little bit strict and it is a piece of formality that you may need, so make sure you check beforehand with your local embassy. The LOI I had to provide had to be a physical, original copy of the letter, which had to be mailed to me from Pakistan to Europe via DHL. So that took a little while. Make sure you give yourself enough time to plan. You will also probably find yourself filling out extremely long visa forms. Mine had 11 pages and it included all my personal details as well as the details of all the countries I traveled to in the last 2 years. As a travel vlogger, I've traveled to a lot of places. Once you have your LOI and once you've submitted your documents to the embassy, it really just depends on that organization how long it's going to take to process your visa. Mine took 2 weeks and from what I heard that's pretty standard anywhere in the EU. Number 2. Once you're over the hurdle of the visa application, you will also need to check which areas in Pakistan you can travel to. You should know that some areas in Pakistan are restricted, which means that you might not be able to go there at all, or you might need to apply for special permits in order to go there. For example, Azad Kashmir, also known as Occupied Kashmir, it's an area of very high tensions here in India and Pakistan. Azad Kashmir is one such area. Before going there, you may need to apply for an NOC, which is basically a non-objection certificate, excuse my ignorance for the bureaucratic lingo. You may need to apply for an NOC from one of the ministries here before going there. Note that this could take a week or more to process. A lot of the most popular tourist areas, however, don't require you to have an NOC. For example, if you go to Gilgit-Baltistan, where Hunza is, and Skardu, probably you won't require an NOC, but this could change, so make sure you check before going. Places like Lahore or Karachi or Islamabad, of course, you don't need an NOC. However, as I said, these things change, so make sure you check before coming, just so you have all the right permits to go to the areas you really want to check out. Related to NOCs and restricted areas, sometimes in some places you might be assigned a guard if you're not traveling with a local. What does that actually mean? I've actually never personally been assigned a guard because I've always traveled with people from here, from Pakistan, but I've heard stories of travelers who got on buses from Islamabad to Gilgit-Baltistan up in the mountains of Pakistan, and on the bus they were assigned a guard, or in their private car they had to provide a space for the guard. Now these guards are usually assigned at military checkposts, so you don't need to do anything before coming here. The guard will just be given to you. It may not be the best travel experience, but unfortunately that's how it still is in some areas of Pakistan. However, if you're in the cities like Lahore, like Islamabad or Karachi, you won't be assigned a guard, so you can travel freely in those areas, of course. Number 4, this is something I struggled with when I came here for the first time, and I still sometimes struggle with as well. It's what to wear in Pakistan. Now guys, you don't need to listen to this part, but girls, this is probably for you. What I'm wearing right now, for example, is a relatively edgy kind of t-shirt, for much of the Pakistani population. Now, the thing is, you can technically wear anything you want in Pakistan. However, you might get stared at or looked at in the wrong way. So in order to feel comfortable, here's a few tips I've picked up along the way. Number one, wear trousers that are loose, so no leggings. Jeans should be okay. Shorts are a no-go for women. Again, it's not illegal to wear them per se, but you will get a lot of strange looks, so long trousers. Number two, wear a shirt that's a little bit longer, maybe covers your bum. 3, sleeves. I walk around in a t-shirt a lot of the time, but if you want to feel really comfortable, or if you're traveling in more remote areas, I would suggest something that's a 3/4 sleeve. However, having said that, in places like Islamabad, I feel perfectly comfortable walking around in jeans and a t-shirt. So it's really up to you, and it really depends on the situation and your location. Basically, like a tunic style outfit with loose trousers should do the trick. Do you need to wear a headscarf in Pakistan? No, you absolutely don't. It's not like Iran, which I know is quite strict about those things. In Pakistan, you don't need to wear a headscarf, and many women, especially in cities, choose not to wear one. Number 5, nightlife and alcohol. If you've done a bit of research about Pakistan, you will know that it's an Islamic republic, which means that alcohol is illegal for the most part here. No bars, no clubs, no parties, as you may know them in the West, and definitely no alcohol in shops. So try and enjoy juices, chai, the local cuisine, and have fun without the parties. Actually, my question before coming here was, so is it really impossible to get alcohol in Pakistan? The honest answer is no, it's not impossible. In fact, it is quite possible, especially if you're not Muslim. If you're a foreigner, it is possible to obtain alcohol here, but as I said, just come here to enjoy the culture without necessarily subscribing to some of the things that you might know from back home in the West. Number 6, food. One of my absolute top favorite topics to talk about here in Pakistan. So Pakistani food culture is absolutely incredible, and there are so many different subtypes of local cuisines, the sweets and the spicy things. Now get ready. There's a few things that you need to know about Pakistani cuisine before you try it. First of all, it's spicy. A lot of it is really quite fragrant, aromatic, and actually quite hot. So if you're not into hot cuisine, make sure you tell your hosts or your chef that you need a little bit milder. Now, I love my food really, really spicy, so I can just gobble it all up, but it really just depends on your personal preferences. Another thing you should know is that Pakistani cuisine is very rich and hearty. So one serving is usually going to be enough. If you have it with a roti or a chapati, which is the local type of bread, it's going to fill you up for a good few hours. As opposed to India, which has a lot of options for veggies, Pakistan is a meat lover's paradise, really. So while you can't get things like pork here because it's considered haram, which means sinful in Islam, there's so many other types of meat that are very popular here in Pakistan. Chicken, mutton, lamb, beef, really pretty much anything you want. Cities like Lahore and Karachi are really famous for their street food scenes, so go and check those out if you're a true foodie. In terms of where you eat and what you eat, there's a couple of different schools. I subscribe to the first, which is I'll try anything at least once. Even street food, restaurant food, home-cooked food, anything. I'll give it a go. However, I appreciate that not everybody is blessed with a very strong stomach or a very strong gut. So a lot of people say that when you come to Pakistan, you should be a little bit more careful with the food that you consume and make sure that all of the fresh fruit or fresh vegetables you're eating are washed with Nestle water. And by the way, Nestle water is more or less a generic term to refer to mineral or filtered water that's definitely safe to drink here in Pakistan. The food is just insane. It's so good. It's too good. Actually, that reminds me, where's lunch? Let's keep going with this list of things that you need to know before coming to Pakistan. Getting to point number 7 now. Sightseeing. There's a few museums here that you can visit, a lot of beautiful mosques, some old forts. There's so much history here. You'll be spoiled for choice. And most places are absolutely fine for you to visit no matter where you're from or who you are, female or male. But there's a couple of rules that you should probably follow when visiting places of worship, like mosques. For example, women should, out of respect, put on a headscarf when visiting a mosque. Usually you also take off your shoes for both men and women. If you're not sure about any of these rules, just ask a passerby or the person in charge of the place you're visiting and ask them. They will give you all the tips that you need. Number 8. Getting around. Pakistan is not as developed in terms of its public transport infrastructure as many countries in Southeast Asia, for example, or in Europe. So you may need to do a little bit of digging, a little bit of research. There is a pretty decent bus network running across most of the country that can get you to some of the most popular spots in Pakistan, especially the touristy places. It doesn't cost that much to hire a private driver either. It's going to cost you much less than it would in the West, so don't be afraid to ask for prices. The great thing about having a driver of your own is that you really have a lot of freedom of movement. Some places in the mountains or in the Swat Valley really require you to have a car. It's very difficult to get around without one. It might be a bit of a pain. What about driving on your own? In short, if you're not used to Pakistani traffic, which you're probably not if you're watching this video, I just wouldn't recommend it. Just get a driver. Yeah. Another obvious way to get around in Pakistan is by flying. There's a bunch of airlines here that operate flights between all the major cities and even some of the more mountainous regions. Usually prices are quite elevated. I've seen upwards of $200 for a 1-hour flight, so consider whether going overland might be a better option. Number 9, we're getting close to the end, boys and girls. Number 9 is all about hotels. This is an interesting one. There's a couple of luxury hotel chains here in Pakistan, such as the Serena or the Pearl Continental or even the Marriott. And those hotels really give you the highest levels of security while you're in the country. And they're usually quite barred away from everything around them with big fat walls. And those hotels can cost you $100, $200, $300 a night quite easily. If, like me, you prefer more of the local flavor and you want to support the local economy, then have a Google search. Now, a lot of these hotels are not going to be on Booking.com or TripAdvisor, especially if we're talking about more remote areas like Hunza or Swat. You will probably find a lot of hotels on those sites for cities like Lahore and Karachi, so go for that, but it's not the same for the remote areas. Usually it's better to look through blog posts or Facebook pages, even recommendations from locals. In fact, a lot of the time you might be able to just drive up to a hotel and inquire whether there's room available, and usually there is, especially if you're coming here out of season. In some of the more mountainous regions, you shouldn't be paying more than $20 per night for a simple hotel. Do note that Pakistan's tourism industry is very much in the emerging stages right now. So there's going to be a lot of hotels that are under development or that perhaps don't yet provide the best service they could because they're very young and very fresh. So you may need to find yourself having to forgive a lot of flaws, but Pakistanis are so hospitable and so welcoming that you will very quickly forget about all the imperfections. Number 10. And this is something I still see every single day I am in Pakistan. Every single time I leave the house, pretty much. You have to get ready to be the center of attention. Not many tourists visit Pakistan. Of course, the industry is now increasing and growing, but still, it's not necessarily an everyday occurrence to see a foreign tourist, especially in the more remote areas of Pakistan. Whenever you show your face in some of those areas, you will probably get quite a lot of tender love and care, and probably a lot of requests for selfies. In the past, I've also found myself receiving invitations for tea, for chai, for coffee, for dinner at people's homes. So it's really lovely. It makes you feel very, very welcome in this country. But yes, not everybody loves attention, so just get ready for an onslaught of that when you're here. And now I'm coming to the last point, which is actually the most important. Pakistan is not at all what you know it to be. It's not at all how the Western media portray it. It is not a desert with camels running around. It is not a horrible terrorist state with bombs going off at every single corner. Pakistan is a beautiful country with the most welcoming people I have come across anywhere in the world. So before coming here, make sure that you just forget all of your stereotypes, all of the biases that have been instilled in you by Western media, and just open your heart to the love, the kindness that you're gonna receive, and the beauty that you'll see all around you. I still find myself astonished every single day at the small gestures of kindness and generosity that I receive here every day. And I'm still baffled by all the natural beauty in Pakistan and how it's just not known anywhere outside of the country. Even if you have an idea of Pakistan right now and you've never been here, get ready for that to be dashed. And I hope that you'll be positively surprised by your visit here, just like I was the first time around, and that's why I came back for more. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it informative, and I hope that it's helped you make a decision on whether to come to Pakistan. If you have any more questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me via any of my social media channels, and I hope to be able to help. And if you've enjoyed this video, obviously it would mean the world to me if you subscribe to my YouTube channel or followed me on one of my other social media channels listed below. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.